You are now listening to the No Cupcake Zone podcast, sponsored by CJ Noel Insurance Services, where you can find all your financial and insurance solutions. For more information, please contact cjnoelinsurance.com or call 239-403-8391. Make sure to also visit NoCupcakeZone.com for future and past shows. Enjoy the show.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia.
It's your boy, Triple Black, a.k.a. the number one stunner, a.k.a. the boss, a.k.a. Ray Charles, Fats Domino, and Chuck Berry. All black, bitch. You already know what it is, man. It's No Cupcake Zone. Anyways, man, this is a special episode I got for you guys out there. Hey, man, before you guys do anything, man, go Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, and follow me, rate, comment, do anything to show support to the podcast. You already know what it is. Anyways, man, I got a special show. I got the legendary Bill Broxson on the show. Man, it was a great, candid interview. Coach Broxson is a solid dude, man. I love that guy, man. He don't remember me, man, but that's okay, man. He was very important to the fabric of Collier County, football, education, everything, man. Real solid dude. We had a great conversation, reminiscing and everything, man. You guys stay tuned. Before I leave you guys, man, I want to give a special shout out to Matt, John, and Gene Paul, man. Solid individuals, man. Thank you so much, man, for letting me come through the camp, shoot my video on Facebook Live, man. I like that, man. That was awesome, man. And shout out to Damian Gregory, man, for doing an interview with me. Ben Kelly, also Mr. Word. Hey, man, you guys are really solid dudes, man. And thank you so much for showing love. The whole Gridiron Gang, Bayshore Boys Club, everybody, man. You guys treated me like family out there, man. That's all it's all about, man. Anyways, man, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. CJ Noel Insurance Services, the sponsor. You already know what it is. Anyways, man, you guys enjoy the show.
Have you ever asked yourself, what if something happens to me? How is my family protected? Will I be able to retire one day? Am I covered? Are my taxes filed correctly? These are all important questions that need to be answered. Visit the experts at CJ Noel Insurance Services for all your financial and insurance needs. Internationally known for their excellence, CJ Noel Insurance has proudly served the Naples area for over 20 years and is the #1 Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance provider in the Southwest Florida area. Conveniently located in Naples at 2800 Davis Boulevard, Suite 208. Stop by.
You are now listening to the No Cupcake Zone podcast, where there ain't nothing sweet. Hosted by your boy, Triple Black. Now back to our show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a coaching legend. When I say legend, I'm talking about a legend. Whenever you put 40 years, into something, man, you have to be considered a legend. To be sustainable for that many years, you have to be able to call yourself a legend. Without any further ado, let me introduce Bill Broxson, Coach Broxson. How's it going, Coach?
Oh, not too bad. Good days and bad days.
Yeah.
How's it going down there in South Florida?
All I can say is hot.
Yeah.
It's starting that time.
Up here in Georgia now, we're enjoying the spring. We got the dogwoods and the azaleas starting to bloom, and we've had a lot of rain here recently, but we're having good weather now and enjoying the spring and just taking it easy.
Yeah. That's great, man. It's been a long time, man. You probably don't remember me, but you was a dean or assistant dean at Naples High when I was there.
Yeah, I don't remember you, Johnson, but you're right. I was one of the deans at Naples High School for 7 years.
Yeah, I remember you. Coach Roche and Mr. Bowers had me hemmed up in the office a couple times.
In my office?
Yes.
Was I hard on you or good to you?
You were good to me. Actually, I got a funny story, man. My best friend Rashad and my good friend Chad Browner. One time we were acting up in the cafeteria, and you and Mr. Roche pulled us down to the office, and I don't know what we were doing, but anyways, we were all three in the office, and you guys were about to put the hammer down on us, and Chad passed gas like in the middle of everything, and then next thing you know, we all started laughing, and I think you gave us a mulligan after that.
Did I put you? Yeah, I didn't put you on OSS, man, did
I? No, you guys gave us a mulligan because it was so funny.
Well, if you say so, I don't remember that, but if you say so, then that's okay.
I'll never forget it, man. Yeah. So you're from Alabama. I was about to say, Roll Tide, but I wanted to ask you.
Don't mention that to me. I'm an Auburn. I'm a War Eagle.
One of my good friends is a War Eagle, Clifton Robinson. He went there.
Oh yeah, I remember Clifton.
Yeah,
I encouraged him to. He was being recruited by Auburn, and I encouraged him a little bit and talked to him about what Auburn meant to me and what it would mean to him. And he made up his mind to go to Auburn, and he did play some football his junior and senior year when he could stay out of trouble.
Oh, Cliff. Shout out to Clifton, man. Hey, so did you play any sports down there?
At Auburn?
Yeah.
No, there's some confusion on that. My daughter, when Auburn and Florida State was playing for the national championship, she got on Facebook and said, "Well, my dad played football at Auburn High, and I got my degree at Florida State," and she's trying to build it up. And I said, "Lisa, I did not play for Auburn." I said, my football class, my instructor for my football class was Vince Dooley, who wound up being a top football coach for the University of Georgia. And he encouraged, in his class, he would encourage players if they wanted to try out or walk on. And so I decided to give that a try. And it was kind of like, at that time, they had what they call a B team. The varsity was called the A team, and kind of a version of the junior varsity was called the B team, and they played 6 games in the conference. And they recruited walk-ons, through his class. So I decided to try it out, and after a couple of weeks, I just couldn't keep up with my studies and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning running bleachers and doing weightlifting. And by the time I got to my classes, I was give out. So I I didn't play, but I gave it a try.
What position were you playing back then?
Offensive and defensive tackle.
Okay. Yeah, this is back in that time. You went to Auburn. It was Alabama that was ruling everything in the state, huh?
No, not really. Yes, yeah. When Barry Bryant was coaching there, Auburn was pretty well holding their own against the University of Alabama until Barry Bryant came on the scene, and then he had all those national championships, and Auburn's program kind of went down a little bit, and then over the years, Auburn bounced back, and they had a string of 7 victories over 7 years straight that beat Alabama. Tuberville was the head coach at that time, and he put Auburn back into the spotlight as far as competing against Alabama. And I think for 7 straight seasons under his head coaching that Auburn beat Alabama. And then whenever he left, Alabama came back on with Nick Saban when he came in. And now Alabama is the king. They're the king of college football right now.
Yeah. How did you feel like those years, man? Because you had 1 national championship, but you could have easily had 2 more. One year they were on probation when they beat Florida. They beat a whole bunch of teams.
Well, in 1957, they were named the National Football Champion.
Oh, and
they've had 2.
Yeah. No, I was talking about when they couldn't, when Terry Bowden's first year, when they,
he went undefeated and they were on probation.
Yeah. And then Tuberville, I think it was 2004, when they went undefeated, but they couldn't
13-0 and wound up, not playing for the national championship.
Yeah.
They still talk about that.
Yeah, that was a loaded team.
I think some of the situations has led to a better way of declaring a national champion.
Yeah. Yeah, the BCS was born.
You know your football pretty good there, Johnson.
Oh, yeah, I do. Let's talk about, your earliest memories, coaching down here in Southwest Florida.
Well, I was an assistant football coach and JV basketball coach. I graduated from Auburn University with a BS degree in 1961. And in the fall of 61, I was assistant varsity football coach and JV basketball coach at a school, Carroll High School in Ozark, Alabama, for 1 year. And then after that year, I decided to try out, see if I could find me a job in Florida, because Florida paid more for coaching and teaching than Alabama did. And of course I was single, and so I came down to Gainesville, Florida to attend a coaching clinic, and they had the head coaches there that were looking for assistant coaches, and I knocked on this guy's door and he hired me on the spot. A small school out of Plant City, Florida named Lithia Pinecrest. And I was an assistant varsity football coach there for 2 years. And the band instructor knew I was looking for a head coaching football job. And, he was from Immokalees, Florida. And he went home from the Christmas break and found out that they were looking for a head football coach in Immokalees. And he came back and he told me that, and I said, "Where in the world is Immokalees, Florida?" So I called the principal, set up an interview, and went down and interviewed for the job, and came back to Plant City, and 3 days later he called me and told me I had the job. And so in 1964, I became the head football coach in Immokalees, Florida. 7 years at that one school.
Wow. So in 1964,
I came over to Naples High School. I coached, the head football coach there for 2 years, and then at Lely High School, I was the first head football coach at Lely High School when the program started, when Lely opened its doors, and then from there to Barron Collier High School.
But in 1964, you got to talk about that, man. That's like, going towards the end of the Jim Crow South, and you're in the South. Talk about that dynamic of, starting to coach at a school at a time that weren't integrated and they started to be integrated. Was that a very hard, transition?
Well, funny that you brought that up. Gradually, they were integrating the schools throughout Florida, and I guess some of the schools were kind of not doing it, or was holding out of totally integrating. And so, beginning in the school year 1967, the state of Florida mandated that all schools that had not already integrated had to. And there was the black school that was in Immokalees was called Bethune High School. And whenever I started coaching at Immokalees in 1964, there were approximately 65 students in the top 3 grades, small enrollment. And my first 2 teams that I coached, we had 18 to 19 players. And we could not have a full-scale scrimmage. We had to scrimmage one side of the line with the other side of the line, and so forth. And all my players played both ways. And then in 1967, I went from 18 to 19 football players to about 33.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because of the schools integrating?
Yep. That increased the number of, the black players at Bethune, they didn't have a football program, and so they were eager to come out for football and try out, and that was the year that we won our district championship and got into the state playoffs.
Wow. That's amazing. You know what's amazing about that is you coached, because you have the James family, one of the first ones.
Yeah, I'll tell you that there's a long list of the James that come out of Immokalees, and I guess they had a 4-lane highway to the University of Miami. A lot of them played football for the University of Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. I coached Walter James, who was the uncle to Edrin James.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Walter, he graduated, he got his degree at Florida A&M and was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow. I didn't know that. So he was actually not the first, Edrin wasn't the first professional in that family.
Yeah. Walter was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, and 2 weeks before the season started, he was cut. And I tried my best to get him to contact other colleges. I said, if the Dallas Cowboys held on to you until 2 weeks before the season started, and somebody would pick you up, Walter, and you could play college football. Well, he was very disappointed that he was cut, and he never pursued it. Never did.
Wow. That's still amazing.
Yeah.
Way back then. So you guys won the district championship.
Yeah, we won our district championship that year. We went undefeated, 9-0-1. And then later on, a coach by the name of John Weber went 10-0 and won the first state championship in football at Immokalees High School.
Yeah. Did Coach Weber, did he coach under you at all?
No, I never knew John Weber until he became the head football coach at Immokalees High School.
Oh, okay. All right. So from Immokalee, you went to Lely, huh?
No, I went to Naples High School. The athletic director at the time, his name was Jock Sutherland at Naples High, and he came over to Immokalee one afternoon to visit me, and he was looking for a head football coach, and I told him I would have to think about it, and he called me back 3 days later and had told me how to make up my mind, and I said, well, yeah, I think I would try it. I looked at it as being a step up, going to the big city, so to speak. And so I took the job. I think it was in 1971. And at times I did look back and I regret that I left Immokalees High School, but things got a lot better. After 2 years at Naples High School, I decided to resign and take the program that would eventually be the football program at Lely High School. What happened was we convinced the state to let us play 2 JV programs at Naples High School. And we had to call it the Naples High School JV teams, the A team and the B team. And the kids that I coached, that came out for JV football that year would be zoned for Lely High School. So it was kind of like getting a head start on the program. When Lely opened its doors in 1974, I would already have coached most of the kids that would be playing football for Lely High School. So it was kind of like getting a head start on the program. And sure enough, our second year at Lely High School, we were ranked number 5 in the state at one time.
Wow. That's very interesting that you brought that up, because I was always wondering why, like in Gordon River or River Park, right? If you lived in the projects, you'd go to Lely, but if you lived on any of the streets, you went to Naples. Was that the reason why? Is they rezoned it? Well,
yeah, they went in there and tried to equal out, I think, that area. They jogged the line some way in to take some of the kids to go to Naples High and then some of the kids to go to Lely High School. But what happened was whenever I resigned at Naples High School, it was on a condition that if I resigned from the head football job at Naples High, that I could take a JV what we would call a JV program, and those kids that would play in that JV program would be the ones who would, when Lely opened its doors in 74, they would be the ones that would be going to Lely High School. And it worked out real well. That, yeah, we were able to compete right off the bat. And we did not join the South Florida Conference that first year. And we played teams like Marathon, Coral Shores, and teams like that. And then, of course, the second year, we threw our hat in the ring to become a member of the South Florida Conference, and we played the teams of the South Florida Conference, like Fort Myers and North Fort Myers, Cypress Lake, teams like that. So it really benefited the program. I would, in the spring, I had an old Ford station wagon, and I would put shoulder pads and helmet in the back of that car and go over to East Naples Middle School, which all the kids there would be going to the high school. And I ran a 15-day program where they would dress out in short shoes, helmets, and shoulder pads, and work with those kids 15 days. And then, of course, whenever in the fall, whenever Lely High School opened its doors, then they were already part of the program.
Right. So you had two teams at Naples. Interesting. And did
the only way that we could substantiate two JV teams, we couldn't call it the Lely Junior Varsity. They wouldn't allow that because Lely was not in existence at that time. The school was under construction, but you had no kids there, no enrollment. So the only way that we could justify two JV teams, it would be call them both the Naples High School JV program. One would be called the A program, one would be called the B program. The B program was the one that I coached, and those specifically, I met with the superintendent and worked it out so that the kids that was going to be zoned to go to Lely High School would be on the B team program.
Wow, that's got to be an interesting dynamic. Some of the players knowing that they were going to another high school, but they were playing at one. That had to be very interesting.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what else was interesting is whenever we before we opened the doors at Lely High School, it was the program. We had what we call double sessions at Lely High School. Naples High would come in the mornings, and then Lely High would come in the afternoon. Otherwise, Naples High would the students zoned for Naples High School and all their programs. They would come in at 6:30, and then they were out at 12, and then Lely High would come in from 12:30 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And we would have our football practices in the mornings at Guthrie Middle School. All the kids that were playing varsity football would have their shoulder pads and helmets in the back of the car. And then we'd meet at Guthrie High School, dressed in one of the PE areas there, and have our football practice for a couple of hours.
Wow. So Lely is really part of Naples when you think about it. You know what? That's why we own Lely.
You didn't that first year that we played. The first year we played, I'll never forget that. It was on Thanksgiving Day. It was a good cold day. Good crowd. It was the first ever football game between Lely High and Naples High. And we kicked off at 12 noon. No, we'll forget that. And we beat Naples that year, 21-19, I believe, something like that. It was a great game, a great victory for the program, just getting off with its feet at Lely High School.
Was that how the Coconut Bowl was born?
That was it. That was exactly it. And they still have that trophy. I think that they, who wins that game each year has that trophy for the next 2 school year.
Yeah. Yeah, the coconut is really a big award. I mean, a big bowl game. You know, it gets really serious. Naples High has, had a chokehold on that for a while, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that trophy. Clyde Quinby, who was the first principal at Lely High School, got together with the shop teacher, and he took a end of a baseball bat and took a coconut and put the end of the baseball bat on a little box-like looking thing with some plaques around it, and laminated it in the coconut, and that was how it originated. I don't know if they still use that same trophy or not. I really don't.
No, I think the trophy's pretty big, but no, you know what? I think they still have the coconut.
Probably do. I mean, that was originated in 1974.
1974, man. So you were coaching at Lely. What's interesting? We have in Southwest Florida, the best player in Southwest Florida gets the Broxson Award. This year, we had Tyler Bird, and he's probably one of the more famous athletes that came out of Naples. But you actually coached his father, and I heard his father was a pretty good football player.
Charlie Bird, he sure was. 195 pounds, 6'2". Played tight end for us, and also linebacker, defensive linebacker. And when Charlie hit you, you were getting tackled.
Yeah,
great football player, good football player.
Yeah, I heard Nathan. Huh?
Him and his brother went on and played for Findlay College in Ohio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. How does that feel? Like, that you've coached fathers and grandfathers of some of the stars that we have that come out of here.
Well, I was just glad to be a part of it. I really was. I can go back and I can reminisce, and I've got some fond memories of the kids that I coached, starting in Immokalees. I still keep in touch with some of those kids. Some of those kids keep in touch with me. And it was just a great honor to be able to be a part of the 4 programs, Naples, Lely, Barron Carter, and Immokalees, as a head football coach. It was a great honor to be able to be a part, and of course to be able to actually be the first head football coach at Lely High School, and then also to start my head coaching career at Immokalees High School. At that time, I-75 was not even on the map coming through Naples, and everything was low key. And going back to your question about when the school integrated, how were you going to handle the blacks and the whites? Well, we had a faculty meeting, and the teachers there were talking about, I don't know what I'm going to do with black kids in my class. Do you think they're going to get along? And are we going to have a lot of discipline problems? Or there going to be some kind of animosity, this and that? And I said, wait a minute. I've been practicing for 2 weeks with blacks and whites, and we're all one. We're all the same. There's been no problem. So actually, I was the first person in Immokalees, Florida, to start interacting whites with blacks on the court, and that happened on the football field.
Wow.
And that actually softened the blow for the teachers then to understand the situation that their kids, you don't look at black, you don't look at white, you look at one. and I never will forget that. And by integrating that year, it boosted our enrollment up, and I was able to go from 18 to 19 players on my team to 33 players. I was actually doing a little bit of two platooning, which I never could have done until we integrated. And then, you know, the athletes like Walter and others, black athletes that came into the school, we were able to win the district that year and get into the state playoffs.
Yeah. Wow. You know, football is a great uniter. You know, it's like, I mean, playing football, all my years and stuff, you know, those social things, when you step on the field, those things just are gone.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
They're gone. Yeah. Yeah. But, one thing, man, you actually was the architect to what I call the evil empire, Baron Collier football.
Well, no, I wasn't the first coach there.
No, I'm talking about the athletic director, you know, because that you started at Barron at the start of their glory years, huh?
Yeah, I went over to Barron Carter High School in the fall of 81, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, no, I went over there in 79, and took the head coaching job in 81 and 1981, 1982, 2 years. Gene Merrill was the head football coach, and he went into administration and resigned from the football job. And I was already over there as an athletic director and activities coordinator. And so whenever he resigned, we scrambled around to try to find a head football coach, and the season was almost upon us. So, but Manley, who's a good friend of mine, he was the principal at Barron County High School. He called me in his office and asked me to take the job. And I said, well, can I still be athletic director? And he said, no, this county won't allow that. So I had to give up the athletic directorship and take the head football program job. And I was coach at Barron Collier for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's funny how things worked out. I never dreamed that, you know, starting in Immokalees, that I would wind up being a head football coach at 3 other high schools in the county. And it just seemed to kind of work out that way.
Yeah. So at Barron, I've heard of a couple names. Do you remember coaching Bo Williams?
Bo Williams?
Yes.
Do you remember what year?
No, I just heard he was like one of the stars. I always hear about Barron Collier's start, like players like James Townsend, Tyrone Townsend, but Bo Williams' name gets brought up. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I thought Dave Tanner.
Okay.
I coached him. I know he coached James Townsend, a couple of other players. Trying to think of the running back that we had, the black kid that whenever I coached. John Briggs was the quarterback. Great, good football player. Don't ask me the names of the kids because my memory is kind of vague on that. You know, if I start trying to name kids, I'd leave somebody out, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. But Coach Broxson, I'm going to ask you, you've coached all these players, right? Out of all the players that you coach, who was your favorite player? Be honest. Not the best, but your favorite player.
I can't single out one. I really can't. I had so many. I mean, don't ask me to start doing that because I would maybe hurt somebody's feelings or leave somebody out.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to not have one great player, but many of them.
Yeah.
And I would just have to bow out on you on that question. You
Okay.
put me in the corner there, man. Put me in the corner.
How about the most memorable game that you ever coached, or most memorable season or victory?
Well, I think I've already stated it. That first year that Lely played, Lely High School, played Naples High School in the first Coconut Bowl, Thanksgiving Day. And of course, we won that game. So that is very, very memorable. And then going, that would probably be the most memorable.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fair. I tried to put you in a corner about the player, but good response. If anything, name a handful of players that you really remember that made an impact.
Oh, geez. Well, I can go all the way back. I could start in Immokalees. I could, naturally Walter James, Frankie Smith, Freddie Lee Wright, Cecil and Pat Howell, the Howell brothers, and then Jackie Miller at Lady High School. Oh man, you put me on the spot here.
Yeah, that's all right. I just want to see if you're gonna name a couple names.
Baron Collier, quarterback. Oh boy, yeah, and then there's others. I just rather not get into that situation, but
yeah, I got you. Hey, Coach Broxson, man, how does that, tell me the feeling how it makes you feel knowing that you have a trophy. You sound like a very humble person. How does it make you feel knowing that the best player in this area gets a trophy that's named after you?
Well, it's like I told Tom Wright. Tom Wright called me one day and asked me to come over to my house, and he wanted to discuss a situation with me turning to football. And so I said, "Yeah, come on over, Tom." And he was the sports editor at the Naples Daily News, and he said that they wanted to revise the situation the way that they were honoring the football players and all county teams and player of the year in certain sports. And they wanted to select the top football player of Collier County, and they wanted to originate a trophy in that honor. Kind of like similar to the Heisman Trophy that they award to the top college football player each season. And without mind, if they named the trophy, the award in my name, and I was speechless. I just said, I'd be honored. And he said, well, he and his sports staff, they met and they discussed how they wanted to do that. The top football player each year present a trophy and name that trophy after me. I guess it was because they wanted to link the past with the present, and that I was the oldest head football coach at that time in Collier County as far as coaching, and also the 4 schools that I was head football coach at Collier County. And that version would be called the Broxson Trophy. It would be a tribute to me. And I said, I don't know what to say. He said, just say yes. So it was an honor to me and my kids at the time. We had lost their mother in a tragic house fire. And it was a great honor. And I had to catch myself a couple of times saying that, this is going to be every year for the rest of eternity, that my name will be associated with that trophy. He said, yes, it'll be awarded every year and it'll be in your name. So like I say, it was a great honor, to be thought of that way and to be considered, for that presentation.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry we talked about football all the time and we've actually skipped over the most important contribution that you made was through administration, being a dean, a teacher and things like that. But I was just so fascinated, with your football background. But we can't forget that, you were an integral part of, the fabric of just Collier County schools in general. People like Roy Terry, Gene Nara, which was actually, that was interesting you brought him up. He was actually my middle school principal, and in Collier County, one thing that we take for granted is the school system is top notch. We're consistently, at the top of the rankings every year, and I just wanted to make note of that. We're just talking about football, but you made huge contributions when it comes to school.
Well, I don't know so much about that. I know Collier County school system was good to me for the most part. It was a privilege to be in the county and to be a teacher, a coach, and in administration. And it was, I think, some of my memories and my success was I worked under a couple of good principals, Butch Manley and
Gary Brown.
Gary Brown. See, I told you my mind would go blank. Gary Brown picked me up and met me one morning and at one of the diners there for breakfast and asked me would I like to come to Naples High School and in the capacity for one of the deans in the discipline office. And I said, well, I've never considered being in the administration in that capacity, but I said, if you're willing to take me on, I'll be willing to take the job. And last 7 years of my administrative duties in Collier County was under Gary Brown, and he's a great person, great man. Gave me that ability to be able to do my job, and he very, very good person.
Yeah. I remember Mr. Brown, man. He was like one of the happiest people. I was like, you've been being a principal for this many amount of years. Every time I see you in the hallway, every time I see you, you're always smiling.
Yeah, he let you do he left you alone. He let you do your job, and he didn't hover over you like a helicopter person. And that was one of the things that I respected Gary.
Yeah.
I enjoyed my 7 years under him.
Now, Mr. Bowers, he was a little bit different. He was a little more intense.
Yeah, well, Ray, sometimes he could joke around with you, and sometimes he could get tough with you. You know, you had to have a couple of different faces whenever you were a dean. You had to come down sometimes pretty tough, and then sometimes you could kind of back off and take it easy way.
Yeah. Hey, it's been great. It's an honor to have you on the show, the No Cupcake Zone. I know you got some bass fishing or some, deer to hunt, man. But thank you so much for coming on, man. And thank you to your grandson, Dustin, for making this happen.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad I could be of service to you, Johnson. And this is really nice talking to you, bringing back some memories. And I had to do some thinking way back then, but it was nice.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? Like I said, a lot of people don't know, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. And we got to, learn, the history of, Collier County football, where it started. A lot of these youngsters don't understand, where, this area come from. We wasn't always like, a hotbed or on the national scene. This took years and years of work, from people like you.
Yeah, and you still got some great coaches in Collier County. There's been a production now of the state championship. It's finally come to Collier County, and it's just being out of football and not, trying to keep up with it.
Yeah.
And I knew one day that these programs would get better and better, and I knew one day that we would have some state championships in football. And Naples High and Immokalees High has done their part.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot more chances now because we got like Palmetto Ridge, a bunch of other high schools.
Yeah, I understand that South Fort Myers now is included in the Broxson trophy.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got Golden Gate has come on, and then you have, what was this school out there on the Immokalees Road? Well, you got two schools. Palmetto Ridge.
Yeah, Gulf Coast.
Gulf Coast, yeah.
But anyways, man, enjoy your Saturday, man. Catch some fish, man.
I will. I'm going to get out after a while, and then I'm going to settle in and watch some of these championships for basketball.
Oh, the NCAA tournament.
NCAA, yeah. We got Villanova and
North Carolina.
So,
yeah, I don't watch basketball, so.
Well, I got interested in it. I like to sit down and watch it.
Yeah. Well, enjoy your day, Coach Broxson.
Okay, Johnson. Nice talking to you.
It was good talking to you too. All right. Okay. Yes, indeed, man. Great interview, man. Very enjoyable. Coach Broxson is one of those guys that you met. Like, I actually remember running into him a bunch of times in high school. But he wasn't one of those, principals that were like, mean and want to get you in trouble. Even if he was going to put the hammer down on you, he always was really nice about it, man. He was a really, he had a common presence about him. You know, he would tell you what you did wrong. He'd say, hey, Johnson, hey, this is what I'm going to do to you, and this is why you deserve this punishment or whatever. But real cool dude, man. Thank you, Dustin. He's his grandson. I used to work with him, and I was like, man, you know what would be cool? To have Mr. Broxson on there. Do you think he would do it? He's like, sure. He gave me the phone number, and Coach Broxson, he was like, tell me what I got to do. I'd like to talk to you. I was like, all right, all you got to do is pick up the phone, man. But you listen to an episode of No Cupcake Zone. Make sure you go to nocupcakezone.com and also go to Spreaker, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio and download and listen to my podcast. Make sure to subscribe. All right, man. This is another hit. You know, already saying. Make sure to go to cjnoel.com. I'm talking about cjnoelinsurance.com for a free quote. They can help you with all your financial and insurance needs. But I'm going to get out of here, man. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Make sure to tune in next week for our all-new episode of the No Cupcake Zone podcast. Don't forget to go to nocupcakezone.com to subscribe to this podcast.
baby.